The New South Wales budget will record a deficit of almost $8 billion this financial year before returning to a forecast surplus in 2024-25. Our business reporter Edward Boyd has been pouring through the detail. Ed, what is the detail here? What are the sweeteners? I see there's $6 billion in cost of living measures over the next 12 months. That will be surely welcomed by New South Wales households.
Yeah, look, Ash, a lot of these measures have already been announced over the last few weeks, but there was a couple of new ones today. One of them is 2 days of free preschool for children in the year 2022, next year. Another one is $100 towards children aged 3 to 6 for swimming lessons as well. So that's an expansion on their Active Kids vouchers program they've had running since 2018. So those are two things for cost of living. There's another one as well for seniors in regional areas. They've got additional money on their travel cards. And the budget also talks about roughly $300 per year in savings for households with energy rebates. So those are all some of the new little sweeteners that Dom Perrottet, the Treasurer of New South Wales, has put into this budget. Just have a quick listen to him here talking to the media a short time ago about specifically that $6 billion in cost of living over the next 12 months.
Well, this is the biggest challenge facing our government and our state for a generation, in my view. We are having young people today more and more locked out of the housing market, and that was very clear in the intergenerational report. But we have laid the foundations for that. We continue our stamp duty. We continue the stamp duty concessions.
And Ed, all treasurers at the moment are having to factor in some pretty big ifs, aren't they? I mean, this one includes international borders being reopened by mid-next year.
That's the same assumption the federal government had of their budget recently, and with the vaccine rollout being pretty slow, it might be a little bit unlikely that the border will be open by then. The Treasurer said today the border being closed costs roughly $300 million a month in lost revenue to the New South Wales economy, so it's a big hit. Another assumption is that New South Wales house prices will peak by the end of this year, and with the property market being just going off the boil continuously, it's a bit hard to see that potentially happening as well. But another assumption is interest rates remaining at record lows until 2024. Yesterday, Australia's stock market dropped about 2% on fears that interest rates would start to rise again before 2024. And what that will do is increase the amount of money in interest that the government is going to have to repay on its debt, because its debt is going up. But if we look at this chart we've just made, looking at the budget and it's returning to surplus, really forecast surplus by 2024-2025. This financial year, there's only about 8 days left till June 30. The budget deficit is roughly $7.9 billion. And it's going to actually increase next year to about $8.6 billion before slowly tapering down to that $466 million surplus by 2024-2025. But if you look at the net debt figures over that period of the budget, net debt at the moment is about $40.6 billion, and that is going to increase more than double in size, really, to $104 billion by 2024-2025. And that is a pretty big risk to the New South Wales economy and the budget position, really, as a whole, Ash.
Well, we made the conscious decision to keep investing in the New South Wales economy and put the economy before the budget. And that approach has already paid dividends. By investing in both have benefited. The deficit for this financial year has halved. We made a decision to continue those stimulus programs going forward. Over the next year, we invested an extra $1 billion in health, and that is the right thing to do. Our job, particularly as you see more cases today, our job is ultimately to keep people safe. And by investing in health, we've been able to open up the economy, we've been able to invest in businesses, provide more financial support where we can, $6 billion in cost of living support over the next 12 months.
And Ash, another big policy that the Treasurer Perrottet has been pushing over the last 12 months really has been changing the stamp duty taxes in New South Wales and basically replacing stamp duty with an annual property tax, which would be significantly lower expense to a person buying a property. That is still ongoing. The government is still taking feedback until the 30th of July, but we're hoping we can get an update from them on that after the feedback process completes.
Yeah, that'll be a big one for a lot of people. Ed Boyd, thank you.